So in this lesson, we're talking about who is responsible for design. I already touched on this in the 7 rookie mistakes. Now I want to just go a little bit deeper. We'll try to keep this short, but I just want to emphasize the importance of design and who's responsible. We're going to talk about your role, the factory's role, and design company. You are 100% responsible for design decisions. You can ask the factory for help and they'll try to help you out as best they can. They'll give you options. But if the options they offer you are great, cool. You just choose that and everything, check it off your list. But if they offer you things that don't meet your criteria or not exactly what you want, then the responsibility is yours to go out and find what you want or be able to describe in detail what it is that you want. And in some cases, you'll have a desire to just let them decide. And there's sometimes when it makes sense to let them decide, for example, on the poly bags or the carton boxes. But just always keep in mind that anytime you let them decide, if the choices that they make in the end surprise you and you don't agree with the choices that they made, you're not in a good position to complain. So if carton boxes are important to you, then study up on carton boxes, ask them what options there are, and you make the decision. For example, there are 3-ply, 5-ply, and 7-ply carton boxes. And obviously 3-ply is cheaper than 7-ply. If your warehousing situation is that it's such that you are stacking boxes very high, then it might be worth the additional expense of going with 7-ply carton boxes so that the boxes don't collapse on each other when you store them in your warehouse. So that's just an example of where you might think, well, I don't need to, I'll just let the factory choose the carton boxes. But then later it bites you in the butt when the boxes start collapsing on each other due to moisture or heavy weight. And then you realize, man, I should have asked them to do 7-ply. So there's other things like size grading. You can let the factory do the size grading for you, but then if the fit of the garment is not good, basically you got to say to the factory, hey, the grading that you did is not good, the fit is off. And then they'll just be like, well, tell us what you want, just tell us the exact measurements and we'll follow your instructions. And at which point, basically, you turn around and you'll hire a pattern maker and work with that third-party pattern maker to get the grading done, or you accept the grading that the factory does for you. Types of stitching. I wouldn't expect you to know the stitching. I personally don't know all the different types of stitching, but if it's important to you, then study up on it, maybe pay someone to advise you, and then dictate exactly what stitching you expect the factories to do. Care labels is another one. The factories are not responsible for telling you what should be on your care labels. It's country specific, and it's too big of a decision to just let the factory decide. Because if the care labels are wrong and the goods get shipped, for example, to America, and your goods are put into the red line at the port to be inspected clearly, and it turns out that the care labels are wrong, you cannot blame the factory. Now you've got a massive problem because your goods will not be released from the port because the care labels are wrong. So that's something that you need to tell the factory exactly what to put on the care labels. It's your role to take responsibility for every single decision. And if the factory makes a decision for you, just be careful, it's a liability. So what is the factory's role? Well, number one, they have to follow your instructions to the T. They can advise you on technical details that you just don't know, and there's a lot of technical details that you're not expected to know. Things like negotiating with subcontractors, like a backpack factory, they have to work with 20 different subcontractors or other factories that make the fabrics, the trims, the accessories, the packaging. That's their trade. That's what they do on a daily basis. So they don't expect you to tell them how to negotiate with all the subcontractors. They also don't expect you to tell them how to cooperate with the shipping companies. They know how to work with the shipping companies. All you have to do is introduce them to the shipping company that you chose. Another one is setting up the production process and adjusting equipment in the production process. That's their role, and that's what they do. If your design is not done and you need help, again, don't rely on the factories to help you design. Factories make things, they don't design things. And there are companies out there like 52 Launch, Product Refinery, and Mako Design in the US. And they offer full service going from an idea through multiple iterations until you have a prototype. They're very good at checking trends, understanding the technical aspects of different types of materials and buckle designs and fabric construction, and they're very good at brainstorming. In my experience, I don't know of any companies in Vietnam that specifically offer design services. I have heard about companies in China that offer design services, and I think that's because China's just been at this for a much longer time and there was demand for it. But in Vietnam, most of the factories are just focused on getting your instructions and making. So in the next lesson, we're going to talk about development process. So your design is done, and now how do you go from either a tech pack or a prototype to a pre-production sample where you're ready to place a deposit? See you in the next lesson.